right, you guys ready? All right, we're going to call to order today on July 14th at 3 p.m. today's City Council meeting. I want to thank all of you for coming today and being here. We're going to first do the invocation with Pastor Kyle Fox of Reliance Church. Followed by that, we have something very special today. We have a woman by Sophia, and I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name at all, but she's going to come up today and sing the national anthem for our 250th birthday of our country, along with Isabella and Javier Lopez, who are going to do our normal national anthem. So thank you guys all for coming, and if we can have Pastor, if you can come on up.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and guests. Thank you for the privilege of being able to lead us in prayer this afternoon. If you would join me. Heavenly Father, we come before you this afternoon, and we acknowledge who you are. You're the maker of heaven and earth, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. You spoke, and this universe leapt into existence in obedience to your word. Father, we thank you for the council that you've brought together here, the leadership of the city of Temecula. We pray, Father, that you would give them wisdom as they make decisions, as they make rulings, as they guide this city. I pray, Father, for your hand upon each one of them, that you'd give them wisdom, Father, that you'd direct them. And we pray, Lord, that ultimately the decisions that are made here in the city itself, God, would bring you honor and glory. And we pray, Father, for your hand of blessing over this city, that you'd edify us, that you'd build us up, and that we would bring you honor and glory. So we thank you for this time. We love you. We pray this in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Excellent job. Thank you. Wonderful. And if next we can have, let me see. Oh, that was Sophia, yes. And then we're going to have Isabella and Javier Lopez. Please come on up. And just to let you all know, this is a tradition now this year that we're having children every year do the Pledge of Allegiance. So thank you both for coming up.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Take your hats and caps off. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, if you two want to come up for me, actually the three of you. Oh, she's coming up that way. She's like... I think we found our next councilwoman. All right. Thank you guys very much for coming up here. What's that? What dog? I don't know. Sorry, we were just wondering who the duck was in the back. What? Timmy.
He's with us, yeah.
He's with you. Hi, Timmy. He wanted to know. All right. Next, we're going to go through our roll call. Madam Clerk, can you please do the roll call? And directly after that, we're going to add in SB 707 for the announcement by the city clerk as well.
Okay, great, thank you. First, I'll go ahead and do the roll call. Mayor Alexander?
I'm here.
Councilmember Kalfas?
Here.
Councilmember Ron?
Here.
Councilmember Schwank?
Here.
Councilmember Stewart?
Here.
And a couple of items, actually. First and foremost, item number 20 for the Red Hawk specific plan. That has been taken off calendar at the request of the applicant. So if you are here to speak on that or for that item will not be heard today. And then the other announcement is the city is effectively in compliance with SB Senate Bill 707. The city now has public comments that can be taken virtually via Zoom. All of that information is available on the agenda. So public comments, all the rules that apply to in-person also apply to virtual comments. So you may hear virtual comments throughout this meeting. Back to you, Madam Mayor.
All righty. Thank you very much, City Clerk. And next, we are going to move into our presentations. This, again, is continuing the 250th anniversary of our country, as this is the month of our country. And so with that being said, we're going to pass it on to Mayor Pro Tem Matt Ron for our father's quote for this council meeting.
All right, thank you. All right, I thought brief should be the theme this time because the last time I did this, it was like 6 pages long. But this one is very simple. If everyone is thinking alike, then no one is thinking. I think that was an important quote. A lot of people attribute it incorrectly, but it is Benjamin Franklin. And I think it says something important about our country in that, you know, we can all disagree, we can agree, but let's keep the dialogue moving and have respect. And I think we've been able to accomplish that here at City Hall. So anyway, appreciate the opportunity to provide the quote this month.
All right, excellent. Thank you for that, and that is a great quote. Alrighty, next on the agenda, we have a presentation of proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month, and that is going to be delivered by Miss Erica Russo. If you'd like to take that.
Yes, indeed. 1 second. I'll just do this from here if I can. If I can have the superintendents come up, please. Tracy Masters, Yvette Martinez, and Mike Wooten. So I just want to take a moment to read the proclamation which is being issued to the Community Services Department in honor of Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas Parks and Recreation Month is celebrated every year in the month of July to showcase the many benefits of parks, programs, facilities, and services, and to increase awareness of the importance of access to parks, recreation, trails, and open space. And whereas Parks and Recreation create memorable experiences for the citizens of Temecula through youth sports and enrichment classes, teen and senior centers and programs, adult fitness and leisure activities, free community events and workshops, and whereas Parks and Recreation improve physical and mental health by providing space for sports, hiking, biking, swimming, and many other activities that promote active lifestyles as well as positive social engagement. And whereas Parks and Recreation support human development and endless learning opportunities that foster social, intellectual, physical, and emotional growth in people of all ages and abilities. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthen our community identity and sense of place by providing museums, theaters, libraries, and recreation centers that reflect and celebrate our community character, heritage, culture, history, aesthetics, and landscape. And whereas Parks and Recreation increase our community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. Now, therefore, Mayor Jessica Alexander, on behalf of the City of Temecula, hereby proclaims the month of July 2026 to be Parks and Recreation Month. And with that, I'd just like to take a moment and introduce your Parks and Recreation team. We have right about 39 authorized staff, and during our peak seasonal staffing, we have approximately 100 to 110 FTEs, full-time equivalents, between all of our seasonal staff that we bring on to handle day camp, and our extensive aquatics program. So with that, I'd like to invite the team to stand up and come forward. That includes Timmy the duck. And for those who aren't familiar with everything we do, or who are familiar with what we do but don't realize that it's always, don't always realize that it's Parks and Rec behind the scenes, in a lot of cities, we'll just arrange here, Lean will be taking pictures. In a lot of cities, Parks and Rec is Parks and Rec, but in Temecula, we're really fortunate that we've had a council that through the years has consistently supported a comprehensive program of community services, which includes Parks and Recreation, as well as all of our arts and cultural divisions, including our museum, our library, and our theater, as well as our human services divisions that include senior services, inclusive services, and our homeless outreach and prevention, as well as mitigation. We also have our typical recreation programs, as one would think of them, which include obviously a fantastic aquatics program, including a water safety duck. Who has that? As well as our extensive youth sports programming. We have a media team. We have so much for the community, literally every single age, every ability. We have a renowned inclusive services program that I would put up against anything in the state. Same thing that our contract class programs is larger than just about any other city in the state, even though it's much larger than that. So with that, I wanted everybody to see this team and give them a round of applause. And Mike, Tracy, Yvette, would any of you like to say anything? Let's get somebody over here. Isabel, come up in front for no reason at all. Daniel, you'll be in the back for the same no reason at all. Adam. Anybody else? Yeah, Adam, why don't you come over here? Awkwardly between and Michelle. You're good. We've got a gap here. I don't like it. Come on. Is that what you're saying? It's okay. I felt bad for you. It's like it's right. Thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to council.
All right. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you to all of you for the incredible work that each one of you have done. I've had the opportunity, if not with all, if not most of you, to be able to at least work side by side on something or watch how you just cherish this incredible community. Erica, I want to say thank you for this as well, because they have a great leader and they watch you and it trickles down. And I've watched every other leader over there as well. And you guys really are the fun group. I will say that much, but I don't think I need to tell you that. But I would like to pass it over to the president to see if you have anything, and then beyond there.
Well, I totally agree. I'm so thankful for our community services. And for me, it's exactly what the title is. You guys create community here in Temecula. And really, that is really where we shine amongst many other cities. I mean, as you can see, the 4th of July celebration, we had a lot of other cities in our city because of the celebration we put on. So congratulations to all what you guys do. You create a beautiful, inviting city, and thank you all.
Wonderful. Anybody else here on the dais? Please, Zach.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Director Russo, on down to everyone in TCSD. You know, our families lived here for 25 years. Our 3 kids have gone through every single program in that book, 100%. We've definitely done them all at least once. But it's nice to see new events and new things popping up and seeing the TCSD, the programs and the offerings evolve with the community. You make such a lasting impact, and we really appreciate all the hard work you do in the diverse array of departments and niches that you fill in our community. So thank you very much.
Anybody else? No? Okay, excellent. All righty. With that being said, we'll move on to our third and last presentation. This next one is going to be by Miss Hallie Wolf, and she is the executive officer and founder of a local nonprofit called His Little Feet. I'm sure if you've been around Temecula a little bit here and there, I'm sure you have seen her and her incredible nonprofit. One of the things that we're doing is ensuring that we're highlighting the wonderful servitude heart of these nonprofits each month. And so I asked Ms. Hallie to come up this month to really shine on what she does. And I know it's not always easy, but I can tell you you've done great work amongst the years, and I'm excited for you to present and let others know what you do as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, everybody, city manager, and guests. Ironically, as I was walking in, my shoe fell apart. And we are a shoe nonprofit. And so I'll hobble back to my seat afterwards. But these were new shoes at once. And I believe that all children should have new shoes no matter where they live, what they do. And so each year, our heart is to focus on footwear. When children go into foster care, a lot of times they flee in flip-flops. If there's a fire in the house, same thing. We're a nonprofit organization that helps people in crisis get the shoes and socks that they need and other resources. And so every year we have a back-to-school fair, and it's coming up August 5th. And so I have a video of last year's I would like to present.
Wonderful.
And this is different than my computer at home, is there?
You need a little AV help?
Yes, please.
Jonathan? Let's see. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you say? This whole town could be red by the end of the day. If you feel alright, we can throw it in drive. With the radio world so loud they can hear us from now. Me and you, nothing to do. These days they come and go. Me and you, nothing to lose. I feel it in my soul. So let's let the good times roll. Down, we'll never come down. When the sun comes up, we'll be feeling how we do right now. My heart's on fire, coming down to the wire. While the world sleeps, we'll keep burning brighter and brighter. Me and you, nothing to do. These days they come and go. Me and you, nothing to lose. I feel it in my soul. So let's let the good times.
So at this event, we'll have 150 kids that will come out for local shelters and foster care and just people that are in need and get free haircuts. We have a warm lunch for them, socks, shoes, backpacks, and face painting. It's a really fun day. And we're looking for vendors, so if there's any businesses that want to come in and give back to the community, we'll be happy to get you in. And then we have a golf tournament coming up in October. If anybody is a golfer in the area and would like to join us, this will be at TCI on October 16th. Thank you.
I have one question. Why shoes?
So in 2014, 12 years ago, it was raining, and I heard that there was an issue with absenteeism in a local school. And the school counselor had said, when kids don't have proper shoes or they get bullied with their shoes, they just don't show up at school. And so basically it started from hearing a need in the community and then just organically growing from there.
Wonderful. Thank you. My council have any other questions or comments? All righty. You do excellent work. Continue it, and we just thank you for being here. All right. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move out of our presentations, and we're going to move into our board and commission reports with Lene Trulli-Trejo for Planning Commission.
Hello.
You ready? Hello, ma'am.
Hi. Just waiting for that slide. So our last meeting was on June 3rd, so we're reporting from about 6 weeks ago. These are our commissioners here, myself, and Vice Chair Bob Hagel, Fernando Solis, Mark Watson, and David Maddox. And for those in the audience and those listening, our responsibility as a planning commission we're designated as a statutory planning agency for the city. And so we make reviews and recommendations on subdivisions, specific plans, zone changes, plot plans, and we conduct legally required public hearings. We meet on the first Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. right here. And at our meeting, we reviewed the Capital Improvement Program General Plan Consistency Review, and was a great presentation. We were able to learn about these circulation, infrastructure, parks and recreation, housing projects, and all of these projects, it's always great. And I have to say, the booklet, whatever you want to call it, was like an upgrade. Like, that was really nice this year, and I really appreciate whoever took charge of that. That was really great, and I'll be keeping that. It's a keeper. We did not have any public speakers, and we voted 5-0 on this capital improvement program, that it was consistent with the City of Temecula's general plan. And the next thing that we discussed were amendments to the municipal code for Title V, business licenses, Title VIII, health and safety, Title IX, public peace, morals, and welfare, Title X, vehicles and traffic, and Title XVII, zoning. And we didn't have any public speakers on this item, and we also voted on this 5-0 to recommend approval by the City Council. And that's all I have. Any questions? All right. Good to see you guys.
Thank you, ma'am, for that report, and thank you to the commissioners who were on there for all their hard work. All right, next we're going to move into our public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have? We are going to next move into public safety, and that's going to be with our County of Riverside Fire, John Crater, who we never want to miss over. Thank you.
That's fine. Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and residents of Temecula. I'm just going to give you the report for June 2026. Your firefighters ran 879 calls, 10 of those being fires in the city, 56 traffic collisions, and 642 medical emergencies. For a total up to date this year, 5,516 calls. And I want to add one thing at the end of this that I think is important for the city, being the time of year it is and people worried about wildfires. The Board of Foresters, we applied for a fuel reduction community. It took us probably about a year to get this done, and finally they came back and said the Board of Foresters has deemed that the City of Temecula is a fuel reduction community, which helps us. Along with our community wildfire protection plan, the fuel reduction community ties into that, and then also gives us a little bit of guidance and a pathway into the future to start getting onto some of the creeks and other projects throughout the city, citywide, into our HOAs to start reducing fuel and making our community safer. So this is just another step that we've been working on, and I'm glad that we were given that title from the Board of Forestries, and we'll keep moving forward to make our community safer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Great information. All right, next, does anybody have any comments, questions? All right, we'll keep moving. public comments. Do we have any?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have a few public comments in person. If there is anybody online that would like to go ahead and provide a public comment on a non-agendized items, they are encouraged to go ahead and raise their hand at this time. The first speaker is Margaret Meinke, to be followed by John Fletstra.
Always good to see you, ma'am.
Greetings, Mayor Alexander and Temecula City Council. My name's Margaret Meinke. I am the founder and coordinator of the Temecula Valley Native Plant Network. Our main focus is to save the monarch butterfly from extinction, but we like to promote native plants as a solution to using less water, less maintenance, and biodiversity. In fact, if you like birds, you need to plant native plants. So we're here today standing in solidarity with the Temecula, Save Temecula group, and we are against the power line project. So I wanted that on record, and I'm going to close with a song. Oh, give me a home where the butterflies roam, where the bees and the dragonflies play, where often is heard an encouraging bird, and the flowers are blooming all day. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful voice.
John, welcome, and after John is Dr. Yuan Hawks.
Thank you.
How are you, John? Good to see you again.
Good. I don't have a song. I do that on the weekends. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. You've probably heard of a few famous oxymorons: jumbo shrimp, deafening silence, bittersweet, and I'm sure what a lot of you do, working vacation. Well, I'd like to introduce you to another one: speed golf. Speed golf. At first, speed and golf don't seem like they belong together, but once you see it, you'll wonder why every golfer doesn't want to try it. It's the challenge of playing your best golf while running the course, combining endurance, strategy, and shot making into one incredible sport. On July 25th and 26th, Temecula Creek Golf Club will host, once again, the U.S. Open of Speed Golf, bringing some of the fastest and fittest golfers in the country and around the world right here to Temecula. It's exciting, family-friendly, and unlike anything you've ever seen before on a golf course. Whether you're a lifelong golfer, a runner, or just curious, we invite everyone in this chamber and throughout our community to come experience it for yourselves. And if watching isn't enough, we'd love to have you get involved. We have a weekly speed golf club. We play every Wednesday and Sunday, open to anyone who wants to give it a try, regardless of experience. But we're also looking for volunteers for this U.S. Open event. One of the best seats in the house is serving as a scorekeeper, riding in a golf cart. You're not running, don't worry. You're riding in a golf cart alongside a competitor as they race the course and you keep their score. It's a unique up-close way to experience this excitement. So we hope you'll join us, whether as a player, a volunteer, or a fan. Again, these players are coming in from all over the nation, as well as the world: New Zealand, Norway, England, Japan. Let's all come together as they visit and showcase what Temecula is all about. Thank you.
And the last speaker is Yuan Hawks.
Hello, ma'am. How are you? Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Dr. Yuan Hawks. Before I begin, I want to acknowledge that I continue to stand with our residents in opposing the SDG&E power line, as I spoke last time. Today, I'm here to bring awareness to an issue that affects political candidates, local businesses, private property, and free speech. I am a candidate for Temecula City Council District 5. Recently, I placed my campaign sign on a private property with the owner's permission. Can you see it? As you can see here, it disappeared after just one day. I contacted the owner and the city, neither removed it. Then who did? That led me to Ordinance 2025-16. I quote, "The signs may be placed on private property with the permission of the property owner during the election period, which begins 90 days prior to the election and ends 10 days after the election." So I told my supporters to wait. One said, "It's my private property. I should be able to put up a sign if I want to." That made me think. Political speech is at the heart of our democracy. While I understand the city's interests in safety and appearance, those interests should be balanced with free speech and the rights of property owners. The ordinance also says no person shall remove, destroy, relocate, or otherwise disturb any off-premises sign without the permission of the owner of the sign. I've also heard from business owners whose signs have disappeared. This is bigger than my campaign. What message does this send to our children? We should teach the next generation to build something of their own, not tear down someone else. I respectfully ask the council to review the current sign policies to ensure they protect private property rights and respect free speech. Temecula has always valued civic participation, and we should encourage more voices in the public square, not fewer. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am, for your time and your comments.
Madam Mayor, that concludes all public comments on non-agendized items in person and virtual.
All right, sounds great. I appreciate all the comments. And next, we're going to move on to, we're going to shift items here a little bit. I see a couple yellow shirts. No, actually, I see a little bit of a sea of yellow shirts in the back. And so we are actually going to move up the SDG item number 23. And so let's get on that one. All right, we're going to move that to the front. So at this moment, we're going to talk about, let's adopt a resolution of opposition to the San Diego Gas and Electric Golden Pacific Power Link project and receive status updates on the city's efforts to oppose the project and provide information about city impacts to San Diego Gas Electric, California Independent System Operator, and California Public Utility Commission. I believe our city manager, Aaron Adams, is going to kick that right off.
Yes, I will. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, members of the public. I'm pleased to provide an update to the public and to you on City of Temecula's actions to oppose SDG&E's Golden Pacific Power Link project and everything that's happened since the May 26 City Council meeting 7 weeks ago. You will recall at the May 26 Council meeting, every seat was taken in these chambers, in our overflow conference center and outside. The commitment was clearly made by the Temecula City Council and our community to oppose SDG&E's Golden Pacific Power Link project alignment through the City of Temecula. The City Council directed me as the city manager to bring back a resolution of opposition, to provide information periodically to the City Council, all the meetings, and to utilize broad authority to oppose SDG&E's project based on information that is known to the city. The first course of action is in your agenda packet. That is the resolution of the City Council that confirms the city's opposition to the Golden Pacific Power Link project as currently proposed through the City of Temecula and the Temecula Valley. I will spare reading all 5 pages of the proposed resolution, but it identifies numerous concerns associated with the proposed alignment of SDG&E's transmission lines, including those listed on this slide and the next slide. It is also important to know that we are able to bring this resolution back to the City Council anytime with more issues we discover or new and updated language throughout the process of opposing this project's alignment through Temecula if desired by the Council. In addition to the opposition resolution, the second directive by the City Council made at the May 26 Council meeting is to bring updates, information periodically to the City Council meetings. So, beginning today, we are placing this topic on the City Council agenda at every City Council meeting for the foreseeable future. This provides an opportunity for the City Council to discuss the project together and provide direction to staff as needed. It also provides transparency to the public, which is critical for a project that of this magnitude and immense community concern. A reminder to the public, this probably goes without saying, but the city will not share information that is attorney-client privilege or attorney work product. In the end, the city's opposition to our Temecula route will be actively litigated before the California Public Utilities Commission and, if necessary, the Court of Appeal. The third directive by the City Council made at the May 26 council meeting granted me, as the city manager, broad authority to oppose the proposed alignment of SDG&E's Golden Pacific Powerlink project based on information that was known to the city. As such, we are mobilizing all evidence and every legal argument and legal remedy available to defend our community from this dangerous and devastating project. I'd like to pause and thank Peter Thorson and Richard Watson and Gershon for his and his firm's ongoing, nonstop, 24/7 legal support and his invaluable experience since this project landed in our lap mid-April. Thank you, Peter. Also, through Peter's connection, he deserves a standing O, but we'll save that for later. Also, through Peter's connections, the city has secured Downey Brand, a law firm that is renowned for its specialized energy division with attorneys who have extensive experience representing clients before the CPUC, the California Energy Commission, and the California Independent System Operator. Those who know the public utility sector will recognize Michael Day, who has successfully represented a wide variety of cases before the California Public Utilities Commission, including Chino Hills. We've secured the most experienced CPUC attorneys who are well-versed in energy and public utility law. The sample list of experts on the screen may expand as needed. The attorney-client and work product privileges apply to our experts, contracted via attorney-client privilege clauses. Information that is not attorney-client privileged and that may be informative to the community will be published on the city's webpage on the screen. This webpage continues to grow and will be the central source where the public can find documents that we can share. In recent developments and in somewhat chronological order since the May 26 council meeting, the next slides will share some key meetings and some updates. On June 2nd, the mayor and staff, we met with CPUC Public Affairs. The information provided was general, and the key points shared with us are on the screen. SDG&E is expected to file a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity, or CPCN, later this year. It will be important to participate in the public scoping sessions and the public workshops. The city will join as an official party or intervener to the project along with other entities. The CPUC Public Affairs encourages fact-based concerns and evidence for its technical review, which of course the city understands. Public Affairs emphasized the importance of submitting comments after SDG&E files its formal application with the CPUC. They also noted that comments may be submitted now, but should be resubmitted once the application is filed. After the application is filed, the CPUC will assign a docket number that should be referenced with your comments. In the meantime, comments may be submitted to the Public Advisor's Office using the webpage shown on this slide. The city had several questions that the CPUC suggested we follow up in an email, which we did in mid-June. The responses were procedural and general. These questions and answers are on our webpage. By the way, however, of interest, the CPUC acknowledged that since October of 2025, the CPUC has been engaged in a pre-filing consultation with SDG&E. This is the first time being informed of this pre-filing. This pre-filing planning is a new process to streamline transmission permitting. For reference only, SDG&E's process timeline on this slide and the next does not share any information about the pre-filing planning occurred between SDG&E and the CPUC that began in October of last year. We can expect in-person open houses based on what we've been told by SDG&E. We suggest you check SDG&E's webpage periodically. It's our understanding these in-person open houses will begin in August. After the last City Council meeting, I sent an 8-page letter dated June 4th, 2026 to SDG&E and CalISO summarizing many of the concerns that were expressed during the May 26th meeting, to which SDG&E responded on June 30th. To date, specifics about the project remain unclear and unanswered. We also did not receive a response to my letter from CalISO. We are continuing to follow up as appropriate. On June 23rd, 2026, the County of Riverside Board of Supervisors unanimously shared serious concerns about the project, which is routed through the county as well as the city. Luke Watson, Assistant City Manager, myself, accompanied by Mayor Alexander and Councilmember Schwenk, we spoke in support of their concerns. Former Mayor Marianne Edwards was there as well, and she spoke in support as well. We thank our County Supervisor, Chuck Washington, for bringing this monumental project to the forefront. Together with his colleague, County Supervisor Karen Spiegel, we are grateful for the entire Board of Supervisors to take a unanimous position on this significant project and plan to work closely alongside the City of Temecula. We also thank our State Senate and Assembly representatives, neighboring jurisdictions, and many stakeholders. The city continues to receive several letters and resolutions, including from Temecula Valley Unified School District, whose elected representatives have raised significant concerns, especially with Vale Middle School, directly aligned with the creek. Also, CAL FIRE Local 2881, representing 1,400 firefighters, the Chamber of Commerce, the Wine Growers Association, Visit Temecula Valley. The list continues to grow and is published on our website. Stakeholders can send them to info@temeculaca.gov. On June 24th, at the city's request, city staff met with SDG&E to obtain detailed maps of SDG&E's proposed alignment through Temecula. They stated their maps are preliminary and marked confidential, so we created a map that shows the route as close as possible to their map. Essentially, it goes through Temecula Creek. SDG&E has informed us their updated maps will be available when they host in-person open houses, which we understand will be next month in August. Additionally, they showed the same potential towers they shared during SDG&E's virtual meetings in May, with no information as to which towers would be selected for the route through Temecula. These are their depictions. They also made reference to field surveys that we have all been hearing about, and this is a screenshot of their slide explaining the purpose of the field surveys. This is a screenshot of their slide. And another screenshot of their slide differentiating city-owned parcels in Temecula and private parcels adjacent to the creek. For reference, ownership of properties in the creek are primarily the Riverside County Flood Control. A few properties are owned by the city. To date, SDG&E has not asked the city to conduct surveys on our city-owned property. I want to pause at this slide to recognize and acknowledge the Yellow Shirts, Temecula Safe, a group we have witnessed emerge from the community, and their voices have been heard and their efforts have been incredible. They have organized themselves in a very quick time frame. They've formed a nonprofit organization, and they've done a professional job of orchestrating their outreach and their research. The city of Temecula, as well as state and the county representatives and other organizations, were asked to attend and provide an update at their meeting of June 26th. The city advertised and attended the CPUC webinar. That webinar is recorded and is linked on the city's webpage. As mentioned, the City of Temecula's webpage is up and expanding every single day. If you have comments on the project, you can submit them for our public records about the project. If you have Temecula Creek photos or videos, including past fires in Temecula Creek, hot air balloons in and over Temecula Creek, wildlife activity in and near the creek, We encourage you. These may be useful. Feel free to submit them. We encourage everyone to follow us on social media as we will post information and reminders as needed. We also encourage everyone to sign up for the City of Temecula's e-blast, as the city will email information and reminders as needed. Also, in case you're wondering, we branded using SDG&E's photo from their fact sheet. We have 2 videos that include multiple city council members that we'd like to share here and get your approval tonight to publish via City of Temecula outreach methods. We'll start with the first video.
A plan to build a massive new high-voltage transmission line system connecting the Imperial Valley to San Diego and Orange counties is sparking outrage in Temecula. The proposal from San Diego Gas and Electric, or SDG&E, would mean building a network of colossal utility towers stretching 140 miles. Temecula city leaders say the towers would run through or near Temecula Parkway, Temecula Creek, and the Santa Margarita River.
To SDG&E, you don't want this fight. Temecula is going to stop you every single step of the way. We will drain your time, your money, and your energy. Don't do it.
Please, just leave us alone. You've got a fight on your hands, and you don't want to pick Temecula.
With council chambers packed with residents angry and concerned about how the new towers could impact their neighborhoods, Temecula city leaders grilled SDG&E over transparency.
I can unequivocally say that this project creates a significant risk of fire within the community and the surrounding area. And I would love to hear why you think that's not the case.
These lines are almost never, ever the source of ignition or wildfire. Never.
Almost.
Okay, I'm gonna...
Almost never.
So we'd like to see what SDG&E's original 153-mile route that did not go through the urban areas of Temecula, as well as the other maps from the bidders that did not go through the urban area of our city. Would you by any chance have those today? I know that we had asked for them before.
I don't have copies of those in terms of with me.
Temecula is known as a hot air balloon community. So how in the world can hot air balloons exist with 200-foot towers of high power going through it?
It's how we can get informed, how we can take this complex puzzle and simplify it.
This issue extends beyond politics, ideology, or jurisdictional boundaries. It's about protecting the environments where our children learn, grow, and thrive. Parents throughout our community have expressed concerns about the project's proximity to schools and residential neighborhoods.
I am a Temecula resident and a member of Save Temecula, a community effort working to help residents become informed, engaged, and coordinated in response to the proposed Golden Pacific Powerlink project. As a parent and resident, my greatest concerns are safety, wildfire risk, and emergency evacuation. Temecula has already experienced the realities of wildfire, evacuation challenges, and increasingly dangerous fire conditions. Any infrastructure that could complicate emergency response, evacuation efforts, or access to schools deserves careful scrutiny.
No matter where you live in this town, it's going to be dangerous for our community. It's going to hurt our businesses. It's going to hurt tourism. It's going to hurt our kids.
This is a no-brainer. I mean, there's so much at stake here, and it's right here on the flyer where Save Temecula is spelling this out.
I'm excited to fight for the health and safety of your children with these God-forbidden towers. They shouldn't be here.
The Southwest has much to protect environmentally, much that supports one of the more significant industries in the region, and that is tourism. And I believe this would have great impact on that industry, harm the communities.
I am a mother in this community. I have children here, and we are very, very concerned about this project.
The community showed up tonight, for sure. We really appreciate it.
Conference center was full. This center was full. Our city hall here, the patio was full. You showed up, and you showed up in force, and that's what Temecula residents do when they care about something.
This community will give you a run for your money unlike any other.
important for me to give credit where credit's due. That video there was produced by the Save Temecula folks and did an outstanding job. Appreciate that. We have another very short video produced by the city of Temecula, one of probably many that will come our way in the near term. If we could, Jonathan, we could play this short video for disclosure. Second
A
video.
plan to build a massive new high voltage.
Is that all you guys care about? Your budget, your schedule risk, not about the people of our city? What about the health that we talked about, the schools, the businesses? Again, people over power lines every time.
You have selected one of the most environmentally insensitive routes, culturally insensitive routes, and community impactful routes imaginable. And we're all just sort of stunned. We can do better than that. We hope you do better than that. And we save all of ourselves a lot of time, money, and investment in something that just won't happen.
This is something that just can't be undone. And it's a huge scar on the landscape. And it's something that we're clearly going to fight with everything we've got, leverage all resources. This is something that most absolutely needs to stop. And we're here to stop it.
Pull up the slide real quick for me. This is on SDG&E's website. Our values, the number one thing, do the right thing, not the right thing for your profits. Do the right things for the communities that you wish to traverse. We will continue to fight to save Temecula.
Temecula is known as a hot air balloon community. So how in the world can hot air balloons exist with 200-foot towers of high power going through it? The Temecula Valley is too beautiful, too nice, too everything. So it's become part of our souls. Literally, if you live here, it's part of your soul. That being said, please move it.
So that short reel is planned for the City of Temecula operates a very robust social media platform. We have tens and tens and tens of thousands of followers, and we fully intend, now that we've vetted that in front of the City Council, that will be something that we will continue to use. Will there be more that I'll be bringing back to the City Council? Again, this is the first stop of many. And then finally, staff's recommendation is on the screen there. Adopt the resolution of opposition, approve the public outreach videos for publication, and provide staff direction as needed. And with that, Madam Mayor, myself and the team, this concludes our presentation. We're happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
All right, excellent presentation. Thank you very much, City Manager. All right, we're going to move on from that point to city, council questions, public comments, and then motion and discussion. So next I'd like to move into asking any of my colleagues if you guys have any questions for staff. Seeing as none, you did such a great job. We are now going to move into our public comments. Do we have any?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have several in-person comments. And at this time, we have no one online that has raised their hand. If they would like to provide comments on this particular item, they are encouraged to raise their hand. The first in-person comment is John Enright, to be followed by Cheryl Conrad.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Mayor.
sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just a resident. I live in Red Hawk, and I've been a resident for 32 years of Temecula. We moved here from Chicago in 1994. Didn't know anything about Temecula. And like, I believe it was you, Stu, that said, it's beautiful. it's part of our soul, and it really is. So, you know, about a month ago or so, I found out about this, and I did through a letter that I saw Mr. Adams write. And I called the city, left a message. He called me back. And I had a brief conversation with him about the opposition from the city and all the things that were going on at the time. And I'll tell you what, everything that you folks have done, the presentation that was just made, indicates the kind of leadership you're all showing. And I just wanted to tell you that, Mr. Adams, thank you. And city council members, thank you as well. 32 years living here. And it's a lot different than Chicago, I can assure you of that. And for all the yellow shirted people back here, and you're doing great work. Everyone, this affects everyone in the city, every one of us. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to give you my opinion. This is the first council meeting I've ever attended in 32 years, but it won't be the last. Thank you.
Well, great to see you, and thank you for coming.
The next speaker is Cheryl Conrad, to be followed by Shal Renfro.
Thank you for coming, Cheryl.
Good afternoon. A little nervous. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, council members, citizens, sorry. I'm very against the power link. We all care about the health, the fire safety, and overall community well-being. That being said, I know that SD&G is all about the money, and I'm suggesting that maybe we look into, sorry, I don't like being nervous, maybe defining eminent domain to maybe discourage them, and an example being that we maybe could suggest that for an electric company that they would be imposed 2.5 times the appraised value for anybody that's affected, and even going maybe a step further in this definition of any property that is affected, that their value goes down, would have the option to force them to buy the property. I feel like if we really go after them with their stakeholders and really put some teeth in this to try and discourage them, that maybe they will decide to take this project to another location. That's it. Thank you.
You did great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Shal Renfro, to be followed by Russell Shirley.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you for putting forward today's resolution in opposition to SDG&E's PowerLink. Thank you for the hard work that you are putting in every day and the various ways that you are showing up and demonstrating to our community, to SDG&E, and to the decision makers that this proposal is not going through on your watch. I'm here today to represent Save Temecula, which exists to fight the Golden Pacific PowerLink and advocate for alternatives that protect our community. Save Temecula has filed as a 501c3 nonprofit as well as a 501c4 to give us the flexibility to engage as necessary in different aspects of education and advocacy. Over the past month, we have met with stakeholders, elected officials, regulatory experts, including people with decades at the California Public Utilities Commission, conservation groups, and impacted organizations and businesses within our community. In our role as a support to city, county, and other stakeholders who are fighting the PowerLink, there are two main avenues for Save Temecula's engagement. On the legal and regulatory side, as a party or intervener, and as a community mobilizer. Save Temecula has been preparing to seek party status in the CPUC proceeding so that we can fully participate in the regulatory process on behalf of our community. Our legal counsel will also help to recruit and vet the team of experts we will need for areas such as environmental review, transmission routing, and exploring alternatives. We will be representing the coalition's and residents' interests, including economic and environmental impacts, public safety, and transparency. We will be joined by other stakeholders who will also be acting as parties in the proceeding, including the City of Temecula. While we are preparing the legal and regulatory case as a party to the filing, we are also actively engaging with the community. These proceedings do not exist in a vacuum, and precedent shows that public engagement absolutely matters. Our coalition's volunteers have been actively working to inform the community and have already distributed thousands of our coalition flyers and have started a mapping project to track distribution. A crucial part of our community's opposition will be showing up at public meetings and forums where a community's voice can be heard. There will be a number of important opportunities for the public to engage, including ones that can get decision makers' attention, such as scoping meetings after the CPUC filing. We will make sure the public knows when these important meetings happen, and like we did at the May 26th City Council meeting, our community will show up to these in full force. We will also be encouraging the public to write targeted letters to decision makers, and will be strategically informing them of the when, the where, and the how during each step of the process. Our community has much at stake, with our severe wildfire risks, escalating insurance costs, hundreds of millions of dollars in potential property value impacts, environmentally and culturally sensitive lands, and $1 billion annually in tourism revenue. Save Temecula is fighting this battle alongside the city to win. And together, we will save Temecula.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Russell Shirley, to be followed by Mary McCulloch.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Make this for tall people here. Good evening, Council. My name is Russell Shirley. I'm a local fireman and candidate for Temecula City Council District 5. I'm here tonight regarding the proposed SDG&E transmission line to share some facts regarding political donations from interests connected to this project. It has been well established that SDG&E has been attempting to build transmission infrastructure through our region on and off for roughly 25 years. First in 2001 with the Valley Rainbow Project and Sunrise PowerLink in the early 2000s. Residents have fought these proposals in the past, and now we find ourselves facing them again with the current Golden Pacific PowerLink. Over 80% of California's largest wildfires have been started by transmission lines, and as a firefighter, I have firsthand experience with the devastation caused by these events. Residents have legitimate concerns about fire risk as seen in the Eaton and Palisades fires. What makes this issue even more concerning is that Councilmember Swank has been accepting contributions from Sempra Energy, SDG&E's parent company, while these projects remain a known issue affecting our community. In fact, very few actual people donated to his campaign because a large majority, over 70%, were donations from special interests. Councilman Swank accepted SDG&E money in September of 2022, and then in the spring of 2023, California ISO identified and approved this project in his annual transmission plan. So this plan has been in the works for years and public knowledge. In addition, it raised some interesting questions given Councilman Swank's sudden public disagreement with this project. If the project was always going to be opposed, why accept money from interests connected to SDG&E in the first place? If no vote was ever influenced, doesn't the acceptance of these contributions send a message to corporate interests that Temecula's elected officials are open to receiving their money? Is it possible that by accepting this money, city officials like Councilman Swank have been inviting these transmission line projects that pillage our communities? Because from the public's perspective, the concern isn't only whether a donation changes a vote. The concern is whether those donations encourage corporations to believe they have access, influence, or a friendlier audience here at City Hall. But the public has every right to ask questions. Why are interests connected to SDG&E contributing to local campaigns? What did they hope to gain from those contributions? And why should residents simply ignore the appearance of a conflict when those same interests stand to benefit from government decisions? Public trust is not only lost when a bad vote is cast, sometimes it's lost the moment the check is accepted. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mary McCulloch, to be followed by David Cretin.
Can you say that one more time?
Mary McCulloch.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. This is my first time I've been here. I've never really heard about what's going on here until recently. PowerLink. My word is we're going to fight, and the word is fight, fight, fight. We will win this because we need everybody to come together in this, not just the City Council, people that live here. How many people know about this? Everybody needs to be aware of this. And how we're going to do it, we need to pass out these flyers everywhere because we need to stop this. So my last words are fight, fight, and win. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your words.
And the last speaker is Hunter McDonald.
Thank you for coming.
Sure. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and council members. I'm Hunter McDonald, speaking on behalf of San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond, who represents North County, San Diego. And we share your serious concerns with the Golden Pacific PowerLink project. In San Diego, the proposed route would cut through the Anza Borrego Desert State Park and our backcountry communities like Warner Springs and Ranchita before climbing up into the heart of Temecula. And we sympathize with the impacts you've identified that will affect your city: increased wildfire risk, interference with emergency response, loss of scenic resources and harm to tourism, and your hot air balloons. Supervisor Desmond's concerns are aligned with yours. Communities in our region who face these impacts had no vote on this route. This is being pushed on us top-down by the state. We believe that all feasible alternatives must be fully evaluated under CEQA and NEPA, and no alternatives should be dismissed simply due to cost. So we stand with you, Supervisor Desmond stands with you in opposing the current alignment and in advocating for alternatives that protect both our backcountry and your community. Thanks for your leadership on this issue. You guys are like fired up here, and it's really great to see, and for the opportunity to express our position.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we do have one last comment from Jean.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Hey, good to see you and you. Two questions. Did we ever get the alternative paths from the other four bidders? And we're still bugging them for that and fighting them for it? Okay. And then did we ever get a resolution on a mass mailing to the people, residents of the city with the opposition letter? Or like he said, everybody's not informed of this. Can we send out a letter? Will your legal department do that?
Okay.
To every resident? I mean, Brandon and I had talked about that. I don't think it's gone any further, but I think it'd show up in people's mailbox, make it bright red or yellow or whatever. So we'll make it look like a bill or a check so people will open it and have knowledge.
All right. We can't answer that right now, but I'll
Yeah.
see if our staff can answer
Okay,
that for you.
thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Madam Mayor, that concludes public comments in person and virtual. You can go ahead and proceed.
Okay, wonderful. Before we proceed on our end, city manager or attorney, sir, can you, either one of you, be able to speak to that?
No, it's a fair question. You know, we've been doing this a long time. We make a valiant effort to sort of try to get information, push information out to all 115,000 people that call this home. It is a difficult task. I will acknowledge that. Some of our best forms, I believe, are our current platforms that I mentioned previously. If you could help us get people to register their email address for the e-blast. Currently, I have about 60,000 people on that, or 60,000 households on that list. And I push out information every single month. I actually think that's probably more effective than putting a letter and postage in the mail and having folks kind of throw it away. So we're going to use our tools because we agree with you that we need to try to reach as many people as we can. We're going to need HOAs, we're going to need churches, we're going to need volunteers to help us get the word out. But platform-wise, I think we're going to lean heavily on social media. We're going to lean heavily on these meetings. We're going to lean heavily on video, and we'll do our best to sort of reach everybody. But it's going to take the entire city.
All right, thank you very much. So here we go. Next, we're going to open it up to council and for discussion and motion. I know we have a little bit of discussion. I'm sure some people do. Before we start that, would you guys mind if I just threw a quick little video in there of my little trip that I had this weekend? I know Mayor Pro Tem saw it. If we can just throw that on first. I have no idea if anybody else can hear this. I'm in Morro Bay. Beautiful sunset. But listen to those towers crackling. So again, I was in Morro Bay. I had a little vacation with my family and kind of got off route over the weekend. And I will tell you, from here all the way to San Luis Obispo, my first time ever up there, all I saw were power lines in every direction I looked at, and how hideous it looked. And when I was able to pull up into a neighborhood, that's what I saw, right next to houses. And I was so disgusted, because thinking about what they call the corona noise, that's what they call that noise, the crackling, I just learned that. That corona noise is what we are going to be hearing. And just to give everybody an understanding, and it's kind of hard sometimes on video, but that actually was only, I believe it was a 260 power watt, or kV, 230. So what we're hearing was only half of what is they want to implement into the middle of our city. And I know I don't live very far from there. I'm going to be able to see those towers. I know many of you are going to be at the same perspective, looking out your windows, your businesses, the schools as you're dropping your kids off. I think that's just unsat and just absolutely disgusting, especially for Temecula. And so I say that because I wanted to kind of do a little research and seeing, okay, how far out can we hear those? And we all know under dry conditions, which Temecula is pretty much under dry conditions. We've all established that. We know that living here. You're able to hear those power lines from possibly 0.6 to almost 1.9 miles. Again, 0.6, so about a little over half a mile to almost 2 miles away. I know I'm going to be able to hear that possibly from my porch, and I don't know how many of you. So we've discussed so much going on this last meeting. I know my colleagues have things to say. I know we've been saying it over and over, and we are all so much on the same note, and I'm just grateful for hearing from my council members up here as one team with one voice. And we'll find out tonight, obviously, how that's going to go, but I'm very thankful, again, for Save Temecula, because we all are going to save Temecula. We are a force to be reckoned with, and they do not want to come into our city. So with that, I'm going to put a motion down to move forward with this resolution, but at the same time, I also want to open this up to my council members because I think they're a little fired up as well. So, Mayor Pro Tem, you want to start?
Sure. Well, I always happy to see Temecula show up when it's important, and you guys are doing an amazing job. I was honored to be, invited and able to speak to your group a little while ago at Wilson Creek. I think it's important that we keep the momentum up in the conversation because this isn't going away anytime soon. The interesting thing about this is this, and I mentioned this before, this isn't our first rodeo. Been down this path before with SDG&E once before, and we've been down this path before with a large proposed quarry as well. Interestingly, in the latter, when we were dealing with the Liberty Quarry, and in the back of the council chambers here, there's in the glass there, there's a bunch of, I hate to say the word memorabilia, I don't know what else we'd call it, but memorabilia from those days. And, it took 7.5 years to shut that project down. And ultimately with the Pechanga tribe stepping in and just buying the property outright. The interesting thing about that, though, is, I was working with San Diego State University, which owns the ecological reserve where this was going to be going. City of Temecula was engaged in this process, Pechanga, and then back then it was Save Our Southwest Hills that was engaged as well. That collaboration lasted a very long time, but we all sat back very carefully saying, we are also going to wait for the environmental impact report to understand the full scale and scope of the project before we make a final determination on whether to oppose the projects, right? And then, of course, not surprisingly, the EIR comes out and, we understand the full scale and the potential and devastating impact that would have had forever on this community and the surrounding area. The interesting thing today, though, is we're not waiting for an EIR. We don't have to wait for an EIR. You can drive just down the way anywhere in California and see, even half of what is being proposed and recognize the devastation that it has to communities. You could look to Jurupa Valley, you can look to Chino Hills, you can look to some of the other projects that have been shut down in the last several years and either forced to underground lines or, completely move those lines as well to know that these are serious and detrimental long-term impacts to the community. So I'm just saying that in the context of how far as a jurisdiction we've come since, I don't know, when was that, 2006, 2007, when that first was proposed? So, almost 20 years ago now. Looking at this from the perspective of let's just get in front of it now today, deal with it, and make no mistake on where we are as a community. So proud of this council and this city moving forward in that direction and not hesitating. A couple of other things, speaking of politics and the interesting, it was brought up by one of the speakers on campaign contributions and so forth. I'm not confident, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I would assume that every major elected official from Jim Desmond's office in San Diego to Chuck Washington in Riverside to our Assemblywoman and our state senator have all received campaign contributions from the utility companies. It is not an uncommon thing. Where it is uncommon, however, is when that influences your decision-making. I will say unequivocally and without a doubt that every council member here, and I would just imagine that tonight's vote is going to go down as a 5-0, but I've been wrong before, but I can't imagine tonight I'm going to be, that every council member here unequivocally is opposed to this project. There is no hesitation on my end, and I would imagine no hesitation on anyone else's end, given any sort of contribution or thing that's happened in the past. So it's a little unfortunate because we're getting into the silly season of electioneering and all the stuff, and you'll probably see a lot more of that, over the next several months. But it's just disappointing because if you want to contribute to the conversation, let's contribute positively. Let's make sure that we have the opportunity to say the things that are important and the things that will actually devastate this project from moving forward. Fire risk is absolutely one of those items. It is without a doubt one of the biggest risks to California. In fact, the CPUC themselves have identified 500 kV lines as a significant risk. So moving forward on this project, I think we need to make sure that the messaging is very clear from the city side of what these impacts really are, how serious they are. And, I will say, for those of you who were at the last meeting and you saw, SDG&E and their performance, on camera, I was a little shocked by the lack of professionalism and the amount of disrespect that was shown to a community on their first introduction to this city. I mean, that was just stunning to me to see, how poorly they performed. And if you're on a public relations campaign, that's probably not the best first step to have taken. Having said that, I think it's important that we keep the pressure on, we keep the dialogue open, And we keep asking the questions that are important. I think it's also very telling that we have not gotten the answers to the questions we have asked. And they're very simple. If they wanted to email over that plan that SDG&E put in their original bid that did not include the city of Temecula, they could send that in 30 seconds if they wanted to. Why would you hesitate to not send that to us? You know, it makes no sense to me, although I understand it's all part of public relations and, you know, strategy on their end. I get it. But I will say that as important as all of that is, you know, as a city, we need to ask the tough questions. We need to hold them accountable. I'm glad to see that we've taken as aggressive a stance as we have, you know, so far. I expect that to increase over time. We cannot do this without the community showing up and having that support, because, you know, we are all in this together. The one thing I would add to this list, though, after listening to some of the public comment, was simply the idea that, you know, state law, you know how it works. The Constitution provides certain protections. It designates, you know, the ability for states to have police powers, and that trickles down to local government and allows us to do ordinances and regulations and things to protect, you know, the quality of life and you know, public safety and infrastructure and so forth for our cities, right? I would be curious to see if maybe we could do a little bit deeper dive into, you know, those areas that the state or federal government has not occupied, that we would not be necessarily in conflict with, that would provide a better level of protection for not just this project, but future projects for the city of Temecula to have a stronger voice. I know the assumption is that as the state of California, they just can come in and pave over whatever they want to and install lines wherever they want to. I reject that premise. I think there are opportunities for us to move forward in a, you know, positive direction to identify things that may be more protective of the city. And if not, then, and I see our representatives are here tonight as well, that we reach out to Assemblywoman Sanchez and Senator Ciardo to see if there is legislation that could protect these communities as well. We are not the only one in California dealing with this. And it is going to continue, and it has continued. And in fact, starting, you know, this year, new legislation was passed that actually make large-scale infrastructure projects even easier to get through the CPUC and this process. So the more we can do to kind of jump in front of that and say, hey, you know, we get it. They've been laying the groundwork on this stuff for years. And I will just say one last thing about SDG&E and end on this note, is that they have been extremely dishonest and providing a lot of misinformation throughout this entire process. But I have it on very good authority, just because we only started this conversation in April of this year, because we happened to find out about it and reach out to them. But I will say that here's a tidbit that I found kind of interesting. The project was announced August 29th, 2025, and certain tribal governments in San Diego were receiving information on that project by fall of last year. Right? So that communications and public relations and outreach effort started a long time ago, and knowing that this was the only major urban footprint where this project was going through, they never even bothered to contact us. We did the outreach after hearing about this in April. I think that is just absolutely appalling. And I just wanted to put it out there that, you know, this is not a way for SDG&E to treat this community, but they demonstrated exactly who they were at our last public hearing, so I don't expect much from them at this point. And I will second the motion.
All right, thank you very much. So we've got two. Anybody else want to speak? Brendan?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to add in that I'm looking forward to approving this resolution of opposition. I just want to first thank the city manager and your office. Everything that we have directed and asked of you since that original May meeting, you completed, and you completed with force. So thank you to you and your office and to our social media team for putting the information out there and letting our community know what's going on. As you've all seen, we are going to keep fighting this alongside the best legal team, alongside the best community that will be wearing a sea of yellow. We are going to keep fighting this, and we will keep fighting to save Temecula. And we're going to do it together. This council is unanimous in its opposition. This staff, this city, and you've seen all the local elected leaders and community members that are against this. We're gonna fight this, and we're gonna continue to fight this, and we won't stop until we save Temecula. So thank you all for being here. we're happy that we have this community to fight alongside of us, and we couldn't do it without you. That is all, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilwoman Kalfas. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yeah, so just building off what my colleagues have already stated, there has never been an issue that I've seen the community or a council wrap their arms around with and say, hell no, we're going to stop this as quick as they have. Like, it just has not happened. And, you know, I think the speed at which this did happen has a lot to do with relationships. And whether it's at the county level or whether it's at the assembly or the Senate level, or wherever that is, it's because of the relationships that we have, that we reach out, we connect. We've been busting our butts on this for the last bit, connecting with people, showing up, whether it's distributing flyers or making public comments. This council, while we're not all doing everything, we're all doing everything, you know, if that sort of makes sense. And the community is as well. And it's a fascinating sort of like study of how a community can come together. So, you know, for me, there's a couple things. We should be mindful that this is a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So let's, you know, like, be strategic in how we're working. And as a city council and as city staff, we've been extremely strategic. I think you'll see that in other organizations and in tribal governments. I think you're going to see that, right? So there might not be something happening every second, but everyone's clearly working, you know, to that end. I've never seen, you know, Councilmember Kalfas, myself, like, we're out there making videos like ASAP, like, hey, did you know about this, right? We're handing out flyers, yellow shirts everywhere. You guys are attending events, we're speaking at places. So, like, to see this happen in real time has been quite fascinating. And then, you know, my second thing is, like, let's stay focused. Let's stay focused on what is at hand here. Because if we lose sight of that, we're going to see these towers in our community. And nobody wants that. So stay focused. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. You gotta all work together, because this is unacceptable to have these towers in our community. We are going to defeat this, but again, we need to stay focused and defeat this as a team, and Team Temecula will win like we always do. All we do is win, as they say. So again, let's just stay focused and work hard. We're all in this together.
Very well said. Thank you very much for your comments. Best for last.
All right, well, I said it in the last meeting, really, it's the public involvement that's going to make the difference, because we are just 5 voices here, but when we add your voices to our voices, it's very loud and it's hard to put down. So I encourage you all to keep doing what you're doing and encouraging other people to get involved with you. And I'll just do a little analogy, because I took a trip to China in 2019, and I was just amazed at the infrastructure that they had in place. But then when this whole thing took place, I thought, well, they don't have anybody telling them no. And so they put infrastructure wherever they want, no matter where it goes. And that's what I feel like the state of California is trying to do to us right now, is just put it where they feel like they want to put it. And it's like, no, you can't do that. We live in a democracy. We're all self-governing communities. And for them to just tell us, because they're the power establishment, they can do whatever they want. Well, no, they can't. And so, and as far as social media, I really do believe our city manager has it right. I think that is where we can make the most impact about getting this message out, is, you know, using social media, trying to come up with viral videos, anything that will draw attention. And we don't necessarily even have to have that large attention in Temecula, but if we can put the spotlight for the entire state on Temecula over this power line, that puts a lot of pressure on the governing body who's actually putting these power lines through. It's not San Diego Gas and Electric. They're just the builder of the project. They propose a totally different route, like Matt says, they won't disclose. And so no one's disclosing all the alternate routes that were proposed, just the one that went straight through Temecula. So That's what I'm encouraging everybody. Keep up the fight. Like it is going to be a marathon. I really feel that we're going to win. And so, but it's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of pressure. We got to put pressure on, not San Diego Gas and Electric. I keep saying that because it wasn't them who chose this route. So we need to put pressure on those government agencies that actually chose this route. And so, so I agree, they came totally unprepared and basically did a song and dance and gave us nothing. But I really feel like as long as we keep up the pressure, and our local partners here, Pechanga has a huge investment in this too. So, you know, I feel like we have a really good shot at this. So, but we got to keep up the pressure and don't let off the gas. We just got to keep going forward. So that's it. Thanks. Huh? Who chose that route? CASA.
We'll connect right after. I know there's so much info, but yes. Okay, Stu, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Great words from the entire council. So there's a motion right now, but I believe it's important that we read the title of the resolution here, and then we're going to vote, which I think we all know what's going to be. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Temecula, California, opposing the Golden Pacific Power Link project as currently proposed through the City of Temecula and Temecula Valley, making legislative findings, urging the evaluation of feasible alternatives, and directing city staff to take all lawful actions to protect the public health, safety, welfare, environment, and economic interest of the City of Temecula. Let's vote. I'm a yes. I got to get back to it. Yes for me. And that passes 5-0. All righty, again, thank you to everybody and your
Madam
time.
Mayor, that would include the other recommendation to approve the video and the outreach.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
I was directed. Okay. And to receive the videos as well. So, thank you. All right, next we are going to move on to departmental reports, receive and file for that one.
Oh, no.
And let's see, we took some things out of order here, so let me go back, actually, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If you want to go back up to City Council
Yes,
reports.
we're gonna do
and
that
everything
one.
will be in the remainder order.
There we go.
I think we have some folks exiting. You may wish to wait a moment.
Yes, thank you all for coming in today. All right, so as that just got cleared out, I think we have 6 people left. All right, well, thank you for staying, all of you. Next, we're gonna move into city council reports. Would anybody on my left like to go first? 1, 2, nobody? Yourself?
I was going to say, we got to figure some way to convince the folks that everything else after that is like also important business in the city.
Should have waited to the end.
I have a couple events that I did, and we did have a long break, but I'm putting together a better presentation, and I'll do that at the next council meeting. But I have one slide I wanted to share quickly. So we had a meeting with TVUSD board members and their staff, as well as RTA staff, and as many of you know, I serve on the Riverside Transit Agency's board of directors, and have been working over the years to try to enhance transit in our city. Running transit in the suburbs is quite difficult, but where we do see ridership is in our school routes. Unfortunately, like public transit isn't allowed to run, due to federal funding, isn't allowed to run like school buses, but we are able to modify routes that can pick up students in their homes and get them close to school. So a huge shout out to Kristen Warsinski and Jennifer Wynn up at RTA, as well as staff over at TVUSD for looking for gaps in service in the TVUSD's busing plan and working with the teams over there to try to find and capture some ridership. So look for this new Route 79 alignment to start August 12th, so for the next school year. This will service Chaparral High School, and you're basically Murrieta Hot Springs, the Poroy, that community up there by Bella Vista Middle School, will now have access to Route 79, which will get students down to Chaparral High School along the Winchester corridor. So I'll do a little more promotion on this, but I wanted to get it out. Also working with Kristen to do a training day here in the city so that these families and the students that live up there who maybe have never ridden transit in their lives will get an opportunity to ride this. Oh, and by the way, this is a free service for students, so they don't have to pay to ride. You just get on and you get to school, and then you get a ride back. And we've adjusted time so it works for arrival and dismissal. But more to come on this, but I just wanted to get that out to the community. So thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
No, that's wonderful. Thank you for that information. Anybody to my right? Yes, sir. Yes, Stu.
I think I got 2 slides. What's the first one? Because I attended the Fire Engine 12 commissioning, which was really super cool. It was, I don't know if it was the first time they did it in Temecula. No? Okay. But when they get a new engine, they literally push it back into the firehouse as symbolizing basically putting it into the fold. And then they actually run it out the back, and they take the water from the old pumper truck and put it into the new pumper truck to represent, new to old, old to new. And it was a really, really fun event to actually see this all take place. So it was kind of a firefighter tradition that I thought was really, really cool, and that's me being a hood ornament for the new fire truck. But all right, next one. Or was that it? Well, I was going to talk. There we go. So that was the 4th of July this year, and 30,000 people there, and it was just a sea of people having an amazingly good time. And so when Timmy D and Mama Mia did this, I just got my video camera out and I said, I gotta videotape this. And it was such a cool event. I mean, it really felt like it goes back to community services, creates community. And that's what this was. It created almost a family environment with everybody. So it was just a really, really cool event. And I wanted to point that out and, give kudos. And I want to make that an annual event where we do the Cuban Shuffle right before the fireworks every year. I think that's the coolest thing ever. So there we go.
Great video. Thank you, Stu, for that. Yes, it was a great event. I got to go actually during the day and then see it at night from higher levels. So thank you to staff for putting that on. You don't have anything, Matt? Okay. Next, we're going to move into my slides. I'm going to first start off with the video to complement Councilmember Schwank's video himself.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so
Happy birthday! Well, I just want to say thank you all for being here. This is the best sea of people I've ever seen for such a great, incredible event. I just want to say thank you because I am honored with the privilege to be able to serve all of you this year as your mayor, and I know that this is going to be a spectacular rest of the year. So thank you and God bless you.
Well, I just asked our staff to put that together, as it was an incredible, incredible 250 event. And I cannot thank enough all of the people who put their time and effort into it, the community for coming out and pouring out and just decorating in so many different ways. Thank you to the Mayor Pro Tem for jumping on. We had a really good time with the Marines, and I just also want to thank the Marines for coming out, bringing out their tanks, bringing out the Marine Corps band, bringing out also the color guard as well. It was just so beautiful, and I think I told the city manager that it was actually my ultimate favorite 4th of July ever. So I just want to thank all of you for putting on such a spectacular event. So great job, kudos. All right, the next one we're going to talk about, we're going to get into Cal City's Public Safety Policy Committee. So I was selected to be on this Public Safety Committee at the beginning of the year, or last year, at the end of last year. And there are 3 meetings out of the year. This one was on Zoom, and this one was basically just an update of what's been going on, what has been going on over in Sacramento, how some of our concepts, ideas, our values as cities in the public safety realm is being able to be implemented or discussed up with our legislature. So some of the things we talked about just briefly, fire insurance and wildfire mitigation and zoning zero, and really how they're wanting to begin to fortify homes even more. And one of the things I found out, I'm really hoping I'm saying this right because it's been a few weeks since we had the meeting, but they're realizing how California and other places have put housing on top of each other. You know, this high-density housing, and a lot of local cities are fighting against that, you know, and they're actually now doing research at this point in time, finding, well, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Maybe we need to put a little bit more distance between homes because of the fire risk. And so, as you see here, there's going to start being more and more discussion as to what that fortification looks like. What housing needs to, the distance between houses need to look like in order to ensure the safety of the housing and of the families as well. We also talked about illegal fireworks, and we will be receiving an update, I believe, next month from Chief Crater as far as how incredible our city did to fight against illegal fireworks. But we talked with other cities on what they were doing as well. We talked about jail litigation and comprehensive tort reform, so just different areas and what the RSOs and the Sheriff's Department and some of the police departments are struggling with in those areas, as well as an update on our state budget and also an update on the flock data sharing. And so those are just higher discussions that are being had right now, being brought up north in Sacramento, that people are having more and more discussions on what that looks like. So that was my number 2, and I believe I have one more, and this was kind of a fun opportunity that I had. I love kids. I love kids, and I love kids that have the opportunity to get out there and listen to reading and read, because it's so vitally important for them educationally. And actually tonight is the last night, so July 14th, tonight at 6 p.m., you might be able to make it in the next hour and 15 minutes. But we're doing family story time, and there's a lot of different events at the library that they're doing. They're having raffles over there for kids to read 5 books, and they come in and they get to get gift certificates or different food things. So I want to encourage everybody, if you haven't had the time to go down to our library, go. It's summertime, it's going to start getting hot. We want areas of air conditioning and really encouraging these kids to be able to read and just have fun and learn. So I just want to thank the library for giving me the opportunity to be able to read to these little kids. It was a lot of fun. So I believe that's it for council reports. Oh, we have one more. Yes, sir.
This might be a little out of order, but I just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing, because the role of mayor kind of pulls you in a million different places, and the detail that you put into the Cal Cities especially, like attending those and then reporting back out, I certainly appreciate it. I just wanted to say thank you for that, because I don't have an opportunity always to figure out what's going on in all these sort of external orgs and everything. So I just wanted to say thanks for reporting that out, because a lot of that is helpful information for us as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, let me get my papers here all together, and then we're going to move on. All right. All right, we're going to move into the consent calendar. We're going to start with our first waive reading of title and text of ordinances and resolutions included in the agenda. Number 2, approve action minutes of June 9th, 2026 through July 6th, 2026. Number 3, approve list of demands. Number 4, adopt resolutions regarding November 3rd, 2026 general municipal elections. Number 5, accept the notice of draft amendments for 2026 conflict of interest code. Number 6, approve service agreements with Planet Bids for e-procurement software. Number 7, adopt resolution acknowledging receipt of the annual inspection report by the fire marshal pursuant to SB 1205. Number 8, approve contract documents and authorize a solicitation for construction bids for the Bike Lane and Trail Program, Great Oak Trail Lighting Project, PW 2116. Number 9, award construction contract to the Monarca Development Corporation, DBA, express sign and neon for the Auto Mall wayfinding sign project, CM 22-01. Number 10, approve agreement with Craftsman Plumbing, Heating and Cooling Incorporated and M. Bray Incorporated, DBA, MBE, construction for on-call general contract services and plumbing, HVAC and carpentry services for fiscal year 2026 through 2029. Number 11, approve ninth agreement to the agreement with David Evans and Associates Incorporated for the Diaz Road Expansion Project, PW 17-25. Approve plans and specifications and authorize the solicitation of construction bids for Fire Station 73 Gym, Garage, PW 1913. Number 13, approve plans and specifications and authorize the solicitation of construction bids for the citywide slurry seal fiscal year 2026-2027 project PW 26-03. Number 14, accept improvements and file the notice of completion for the citywide slurry seal project PW 2506. Accept improvements and file the notice of completion for the pedestrian ramp upgrades citywide project PW 23-11. Wow, our city does a lot. Is that everything? Yes. I'd like to take a motion. Or who would like the motion? Thank you.
Second.
All right, first and second, let's vote. Is it good? It's not showing up. Yes, my computer's all funky. I don't know. Stand by for technical stuff. It is. It's a 5-0. I'm just trying to figure out how to get my thing to work. All right. We'll ask Jonathan in a moment. All right, next we're going to recess the council meeting to a scheduled meeting of the Temecula Community Services District, the successor agency to the Temecula Redevelopment Agency, the Temecula Housing Authority, and/or the Temecula Public Financing Authority. Move that over to Councilmember Sioux, President.
And I will call to order the Temecula Community Service District meeting. Madam Secretary, please note we're still here. Any public comments? All right, so with that, we have item number 16, which is the consent calendar. Approve action minutes of June 9th, 2026.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote. All right, I'm assuming that will pass 5-0. It does. And we have one business item, which is item number 17, receive recommendations related to September 11th Remembrance Event and provide general direction regarding the same. At the request of Mayor Alexander and Pro Tem Moran. May I have a staff report, please?
Yes, indeed. So this item, as you mentioned, is at the request of the mayor and the mayor pro tem. And they requested a meeting with staff to discuss some options for making our commemorative event for the September 11th event this year particularly special, given that it's a major anniversary year. So in the past, as I think a lot of people are familiar with, we hold an event at the Duck Pond every year. And it's meant to be a fairly somber and respectful recognition of the date and its significance to our country and our community. And it's usually a fairly small event over at the Duck Pond. And so with the discussion with the mayor and the mayor pro tem raised were some options for perhaps making this year's remembrance larger and really trying to focus on educating a community that as increasing time passes from the event itself, we have more and more members of our community who may be too young to even have remembered that event. So the attempt this year would be to really put a spotlight on it. So I'll turn it over to the mayor and mayor pro tem to discuss more fully their vision, but in general, what was discussed was moving the event from the Duck Pond to the area in front of City Hall this year, expanding what we're offering, bringing in speakers, perhaps some documentary footage, and generally trying to increase the public outreach of this event as well as the educational content of it. So hopefully I did justice to what your vision was there, Madam Mayor, and I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that staff report. Yes, that was one of the things that when myself and Mayor Pro Tem Matt Ron were having the conversation was just that. It's how over the years we're not seeing the same influx of people. And being the 25th anniversary, I think this needs to be highlighted. For whatever reason, this year has a lot of anniversaries in it, which is wonderful. But this is something that's important. Having been from New York, having been at Ground Zero and seeing it, having had men that I knew that were there at September 11th, having family that was there at September 11th, it has an impact. And history should never be forgotten or it's going to be repeated. And so I just want to make sure that we give precedence to this time in history that we saw our community coming together, quite like what we're seeing today. And so for myself and Mayor Pro Tem, we had a whole bunch of ideas, changing it up a little bit, and even the possibility, and this is just a forethought if we decide later on to do something more after this, I know that we want to really ensure that this area in front of City Hall stays clear as much as possible. But I'm also going to throw out the possibility of maybe in the future doing something with the fire station right here in Old Town. Instead of doing it at the Duck Pond, maybe doing it in Old Town to where we have the firefighters there, we have the trucks, and we have a connection. Just throwing something out along those lines, that's a possibility. But as of today, right now, yes, there's a ton of opportunities for us to have our community get involved here at City Hall in order to remember that. And so is there some things you want to say before we get in the list?
No, look, I appreciate you bringing this forward and bringing it to the subcommittee for a conversation. I think it's an important opportunity for us to continue to recognize the importance of that event. Being somebody who does research on firefighter cancer and health and safety, that's still used as a benchmark incident for all first responders and occupational exposure and risk. And I think it's important that we continue to recognize that. And this year in particular, I think it's an important opportunity for us to sort of revitalize what we envision as the memorial and how best to represent Temecula's place in that history.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So any other comments from the other council people?
Oh, I just want to say thank you to the subcommittee for looking into this. I think the ideas presented sounds awesome. I think it can be a beautiful, picturesque event out there and really do justice to that event and make sure that we remember. So thank you for looking into this, and I think moving it from the Duck Pond to in front of City Hall for the 25th anniversary would be a great thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I certainly agree with everything that I've heard, and I'm glad we're having this conversation because, we've attended everyone. I've attended. I mean, we've all attended them all, right, over the years. And part of me wonders, is this just a function of time, right, with every major event in American history, So, but that doesn't absolve us from the challenge of trying to continue to, educate, to remember, and to do everything we possibly can so that we never forget. I mean, we say that, right? And that is the goal. So I'm supportive of the changes. I do kind of like the idea of incorporating the fire station. This year, September 11th is on a Friday evening. So Old Town in general on a Friday night, there's going to be a lot of people here, so maybe we get some sort of synergy with Old Town. But I'm more than supportive of whatever, you said you had a list, or maybe there's more, but certainly supportive. I think we need to do everything we can, to continue to educate. I can speak for someone who's been to the memorial in New York City. I experienced it completely different than my children, right? And I think we're seeing a generation of kids that are so sort of fragmented away from it. And so I wonder if there's something like, the bigger picture of, the K-12 education and how we sort of teach these things, and what TVUSD and some of the private schools around here can also do going, sort of long-term going forward. But really supportive of this.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So I'm trying to envision what's the time frame for the event? It's an evening event? Is it going to be 1 hour? Is it going to be, how long and how quick could that transition to back to open for, the Friday night festivities?
So we'd be looking at a partial day closure. I'm thinking, although we're certainly open to different information on that, but I'm thinking we'd be looking at something just kind of after the workday, maybe around the 6 p.m. timeframe, since it is a weekday.
Right.
We want to make sure people have time to get there if they're finishing up their workdays. So it would be a partial day closure. We'd probably close right around lunchtime, maybe a little later, depending on the complexity of the closure. Just to remind the council or the board that since we canceled the summer market that we had, we reduced the number of closures in Old Town in front of City Hall substantially. In addition, we've also relocated several other events that were here are now at other sites. So the net effect is still a vast reduction in road closures. And then we would be able to reopen it within probably a couple of hours of the event.
Okay. All right. So do we need action on this? Because it is a business item, so.
President, do we need to go over any of the things that we talked about, or are we just going to move forward as far as the things that we wanted to do?
Yeah, so just to make sure that we have the concurrence here, what had been discussed was the idea of moving it out front, potentially showing a documentary about the event, having it set up on a large screen, similar to what we do for Puesca Mountain Day. In addition, inviting different individuals to come and speak. We know we have a couple of members of our community who were present near Ground Zero at the time of the event who would want to speak. In addition, I know Mayor Pro Tem wanted to invite somebody out from the Federal Firefighters Association to speak. There was some discussion of potentially inviting Supervisor Washington to speak from the point of view of somebody who's been in aviation. And then having speakers and having the council members speak and any other dignitaries who wanted to speak, and then probably inviting, if we could get a band like we bring out the Great Oak Band, who could play at the event. And that's what had been kind of discussed so far, unless I missed anything.
I think we talked about static displays. I know Chief Crater can probably, resources being available, we can also have equipment out in front too. That would be fantastic.
I imagine the chief would be happy to.
Yes, we'll be there.
If I can throw out something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Just an idea, as you had brought up, it's on a Friday.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can tie this into OTTA, the Old Town area, to bring people up and then send people back out? Because it's going to be that time to eat dinner and things like that. I'm wondering if we can work something with them and have that discussion. And I don't know, maybe there's a discount for individuals, or I don't know. Something that maybe we can work out and just bring more of those individuals in here and then back out into Old Town.
Yeah.
So, it's food for thought. Okay.
Definitely.
All right, so are we good with the event? Everybody concur? Yes?
Good.
Good, all right. Yeah, so let's move forward.
Great, thank you. With that, staff will put together a proposal, and then we'll bring it back to subcommittee before scheduling the event.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, with that being said, I do have a last slide, and I believe it's of the concert series that is coming up. And we got the Cheese Whiz Band this Thursday, which is always a fun concert. So if you're interested in 80s music, early 90s music, these are the guys, and they put on a fun show. And then the next Thursday is Classic Journey, which is always very well attended. So come early for both of those because it will be a full crowd. So I encourage everybody to get out, enjoy beautiful summer nights in Temecula and some really, really good music. So, all right, with that being said, General Manager report. Director report, yes.
I don't have a slide. I just wanted to thank you again for your support as a council for everything we do in community services, this being Parks and Recreation Month, and I'm glad you had the chance to see kind of the staff. It's hard sometimes to get them here in the middle of a workday, especially during the summer when they're all busy running around doing things, but we really believe in our mission and what we do, and that we do help make the community happier, healthier, and safer. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Now, General Manager.
Yeah, just props to TCSD celebrating the month, but we celebrate you guys all year round and the great work you continue to do. Appreciate all the folks on the TCSD side. That concludes my report.
Right. Anything else from the Board of Directors? Nope. I will adjourn this meeting till the next.
All right, and we will reconvene the public hearing, and we are going to go right into number 18, which is introduce ordinance amending Titles 5, 8, 9, 10, and 17 to the Temecula Municipal Code, and we are supposed to receive a report from Mr. Matt Peters.
Madam Mayor and City Council, I'd like to introduce Mark Collins, Senior Planner, to present on this item.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council. As mentioned, this is long-range project number LR260008. This is our annual code maintenance. So this is our annual code maintenance or cleanup. Staff keeps a running list of issues identified within the code and updates them annually, and primarily include corrections, clarifications, and other minor changes. This ensures the city's municipal code is a usable tool for residents, developers, and staff. I will have a slight asterisk this year. One item this year was requested by a resident, but I'll get into that once we get to that slide. So our amended titles, as mentioned, would be Title 5, Business Licenses, Title 8, Health and Safety, Title 9, Public Peace, Morals, and Welfare, Titles 10, Vehicles and Traffic, and then our favorite Title 17, Zoning. Okay, jump right into changes to Title 5. Section 5.04270, we're going to clarify that the city manager or their designee may revoke a business license. And then keeping with Section 5.04, Section 280, we're going to add language clarifying that all employees of a business are subject to the municipal code. We've had some code enforcement operations where someone's saying, I'm a contractor, I'm not an employee, so we just want to take any type of excuse out of that equation, so just clearing that up. Changes to Title V continued. This is that asterisk I was mentioning. An amendment to Section 5.22020, as proposed, would remove Reiki from the definition of massage and add a standalone definition as follows. Reiki means an energy healing technique aimed at reducing stress, inducing relaxation, and promoting healing by balancing the body's energy fields. Reiki may include the laying of hands above or upon a person's body. Manipulation of the soft tissue is not Reiki and requires a massage establishment permit and requirements contained within this code. Sorry, I'll get to that part. Section 5.22120, we would add Reiki as an exemption from requiring a massage establishment permit and limit it to same commercial zones as a massage establishment and limit them to having no home occupations for such a business. This was brought up to staff by a Reiki practitioner, teacher, and a resident of Temecula. Forgive me. As staff, we performed research and worked with RWG to create this standalone definition, and it limits to address previous concerns raised surrounding specifically Reiki. Staff feels that the proposed definition and limitations included would allow for responsible operations of such establishments.
Could I ask a quick question on the one right before this, where it says all employees of business? Could it also say and contractors or subcontractors?
It does that in the text of it, yes, sir.
Okay, good. Because to me, they would say, well, I'm not an employee.
Yes,
I'm a subcontractor.
We include it to anyone who's a 1099 or any type of employee.
Perfect.
So.
All right, good.
Okay. Mouse works backwards. Okay, so that was our changes for Title V. Jumping into our changes to Title 8, we're going to make 2 typographical corrections only to the definition of public nuisance, no changes or requirements or standards, just fixing some typos. Change to Title 9, Section 9.11080. This would require that private security operators wear name tags that are easily legible from 5-foot distance with a half-inch font, being the minimum. That'd be a heck of a name tag. Change to Title 10. This one, again, kind of came in from the public, but it is something that needed to be addressed. Section 10.16042, we would add a 3-day break requirement between RV permits. Currently, you're allowed up to a 3-day permit with 12 days max throughout the year. So if you have an RV or an oversized vehicle, you need to load it up before a long weekend or the desert, RSO can issue you a permit, so that way you can have it out there to load, unload, and then when you get back, unload, clean, all that kind of stuff, take it back. So this proposal would add a 3-day separation between permits, no change to the maximum number or anything like that, same process. Okay, changes to Title 17, 1704010. We're going to clarify ownership of conditional use permits as specified in Government Code Section 65905. We just want to make sure that our definition and requirements for CUP exactly match the state's requirements, so we don't want to give anyone type of wiggle room or any way to shoehorn something in. And then Section 1705030, we're going to add changes to landscape and irrigation as requiring a modification application. So if you're changing not just a plant type, if you're wanting to do mulch instead of rock, or any types of changes with landscape, irrigation, anything, it would require a modification to the original underlying entitlement. Additionally, it would clarify that any changes in exterior material or fixtures would require that same modification application. Sticking on Title 17, Table 1706030, we would remove guest house as an approved use in all residential zones. This has been replaced by ADU. I believe I took this out in a previous version. I stand here before you embarrassed by my mistake, but doing it again. Section 1706050, we're going to clarify that the actual front yard and not the front setback area are limited to 3-foot high fencing. We don't want to have 6-foot high fences, which is the limit beyond the front yard, so we just want to make sure it spells out the entire front yard area, not just that setback area. Okay, Table 1706050A, we would add greenhouse as an approved residential accessory use or structure, and we would this is essentially to ensure that accessory structure, it can have plumbing, but it cannot have any electricity, so that way we don't have any issues where a greenhouse gets established and then tries to turn into an ADU, something like that, so we have those limitations in there. And additionally, this is just a codifying of current practices. It would clarify that the Director of Community Development may allow accessory structures on a case-by-case basis. On a corner lot, presently our code states that accessory structures on the corner lot are not permitted. This is due to the safety triangle and everything of pedestrians and vehicles interacting. This is a little bit overkill. We have been issuing permits for accessory structures in there as long as it is clear of that safety setback triangle, and this is just codifying that existing practice we have. Okay. And then Section 1708050, jumping into commercial, we're going to require that any retail lockers, these are the Amazon parcel pickups, things like that, be located internally, located in commercial districts, and only open the same hours as the business. So that way, if Target wants to put something out, it has to be inside, it has to run the same hours as Target or another commercial venture. Okay, Section 1708030, we're going to just add a reference to Note 1 for automobile rental businesses. Automobile rental businesses and automobile dealerships have the same landscaping requirements. This is just adding that note. And then 1710020, our supplemental development standards, we're going to be correcting a typographical error with no changes. With no changes to standards. And then 1708070, we're going to prohibit businesses from advertising specific brands on their permanent sign. So Stater Brothers can have, bakery, meat, things like that, but they couldn't have, we sell Coors, we sell specific brands, things like that. So they can advertise their wares, just not individual brands. And 1724050, this is going to require all new roads, driveways, alleys, etc. to account for solid waste pickup in their design. Currently, the road has to be big enough to support a fully loaded fire apparatus. which I believe is 24 feet standard. This would require additional looking into to make sure on trash collection day, if should an incident happen, fire trucks aren't coming through there and knocking over all the trash cans, they would be set back from the road, giving it, the fire apparatus, the full 24 feet as required. Okay, and we're going to add a couple definitions in section 1734.010. We're going to add a definition to greenhouse. I won't read it to you, and a retail locker here. They're both in front of you. You've all witnessed these yourselves. Staff for CEQA determination has determined that this ordinance is exempt from the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, pursuant to section 15061B3, the common sense exemption. And then staff's recommendation is that the City Council introduce and read by title only the proposed ordinance. This completes my presentation, and I'm available for questions.
All righty, thank you for your presentation, your staff report. Council, do we have any questions? Seeing as none, we're going to open the public hearing. Do we have anybody who'd like to speak? We're going to close the public hearing and going to go for a discussion and motion.
Move the item.
Second.
All right, first and second, let's vote. Oh, and then it approved 5-0. Sorry, we have new screens here, so we're learning how everything's operating. So, all right, 5-0, and that passes. All right, next one is going to be number 19. We're going to adopt a resolution to approve the solid waste and recycling rates for commercial customers for fiscal year 2026, 2027. And Mr. Ron Moreno, if we can get a staff report, please.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. Public Works is going to be providing a brief overview of the new solid waste and recycling rates for commercial customers for fiscal year 26-27. We have an exclusive franchise agreement with CR&R for the collection of trash and recycling materials. This agreement allows for annual adjustments to the collection rates for both residential and commercial services based on CPI. Also, landfill disposal fees and extraordinary increases in the cost of collection. There was no request for extraordinary increases in 26-27, and the CPI and landfill tipping fee adjustments are made every July 1st, subject to a public hearing. The notice of public hearing was set on the council meeting of May 12th, 2026. It was sent to all commercial customers, totaling 1,141 in the city, and that was done on the week of May 29th, 26. And a majority of protests exist if written protests submitted by owners of a majority of parcels are subject to this increase. And the city clerk is to provide the number of protests received as of 3 p.m. on July 14th, 2026.
There were no protests received.
So, for fiscal year 26-27, commercial rates are to adjust as follows. For the CPI adjustment, it's 2.77% according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics from January through December. And for the landfill disposal rate, the County of Riverside Waste Management Department had an adjustment of 14.92%. So as can be shown in this example, the commercial rate adjustments for 2, 3, and 4 cubic yard bins on average is about $8.09 per month. Commercial rates do vary depending on bin size and frequency of services. And they're listed out there. So staff recommends the approval of the solid waste and recycling rates for commercial customers for fiscal year 26-27. And if approved, these rates will be in effect July 1st, 2026. So that date has passed, but it will be retroactive. So at this time, staff is recommending that the City Council adopt a resolution approving the solid waste and recycling rates for commercial customers for fiscal year 26-27. That is the conclusion of my staff report. If there are any questions, and I just want to point out that Alex Brockovich is here from CR&R in case you have questions for him.
All righty, thank you very much, Mr. Moreno. Thank you, Alex, for always being here. Good to see you as always. Council, any questions for either staff or even for Alex? We got approval. Second. Let's go to vote.
Actually, this is a public hearing. So
yes, we have
we
a
need to
public
back
hearing,
up.
so we're going to open it. Anybody to talk?
Nope.
We're going to close it. Now we got a motion
Now I'll second.
and a second. Let's go to vote. Wonderful, that passes 5-0. All right, we're gonna move on. As we talked about early on, number 20 is an item that has continued to be off calendar at the request of the applicant. So that will come back maybe at a later date. Next, we're gonna move into our business items for number 21. Establish an all-way stop control at the intersection of Wolf Creek Drive South and Cottonwood Drive Silver Mine Way. And we're gonna move back to Ron Marino for a staff report.
Yes. Good evening once again. In response to community concerns about speeding and pedestrian safety, staff evaluated the intersection of Wolf Creek Drive South and Cottonwood Drive Silver Mine Way, found consistent speeding, significant pedestrian activity, and conditions that justify additional traffic controls. Although the intersection does not meet traditional multi-way stop warrants based solely on volumes, its proximity to the schools, parks, and its role as a suggested school route support the installation of all-way stop controls and striped pedestrian crosswalks. The Planning Commission Traffic Subcommittee concurred with staff's recommendation, and staff recommends that the City Council approve the proposed improvements. I would like to point out, though, that this is the second of two that were done. The other one was 2 months ago, and it was Antelope, and now we're looking here at Cottonwood Silver Mine Way. Tonight, you already approved the slurry project, so we have upcoming streets that are going to be slurried. This is one of those streets, so even though you may or may not approve it tonight, if approved, we will wait on putting it in because we'd rather have the slurry go through and then paint it and do everything rather than doing it twice. So that's our recommendation.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that report. And we are going to move into council questions. Any? Yes, sir.
Just one quick one. Appreciate the work on this. Knowing that neighborhood and not wanting to surprise the residents with all of a sudden there's a stop sign that people are going to accidentally drive through. Can we, I just knowing that neighborhood, I'm wondering, is there something we could do ahead of that or as that's being deployed to put up some, additional signage or something kind of letting folks know?
Yeah, we can deploy stop signs or like the warning stop signs that are kind of on the A-frame and everything beforehand.
Yeah.
That way you can kind of see a double there. So,
just for a period of time, because I know and appreciate the one further down Wolf Creek that was installed. And that was just one of the bits of feedback I had received was that it kind of jumped out at people and, first few days people were just kind of driving through it without really noticing.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. So. And then along those lines with regards to people surprise and speeding and everything, since we're changing the character of the roadway, this particular corridor, the Wolf Creek Drive South, will be on the list for a speed survey. So because we're changing the character of it.
Great.
So we'll do a speed survey.
Excellent. Any other questions? Anybody from my left? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I do have a quick question. Are there any other stop signs, stop controls planned in this? I hate to call it a corridor.
I know.
But it's like it's a neighborhood street. But is there anything else planned beyond this one, or are we here for now?
This would be the last one. It's the second of two that were recommended.
Okay.
And then I think we check to see what happens with the neighborhood, check to see what's happening. As we've always talked about, this is not a cut through. These are residents, and these are residents speeding. And so we will check, though, to see what the conditions are afterwards. And then if warranted or if there are more community concerns, we could look at something more.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked at how fast people, I think I brought this up at one of the last meetings we had, how fast people drive on Wolf Creek Drive. And these are their neighbors for the most part, which is a little frustrating. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the speed survey shows afterwards. So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Stu or Brendan? Good? All right, outstanding. Great questions. Let's move into public comments. Are there any, ma'am? Nope. All right, seeing as none, we're going to go into discussion or motion.
I'll go ahead and move it.
I'll second the item. I just want to say thank you. I had brought this to your attention a little while ago, and I know the residents are going to appreciate it, and, it's great to see. Like Zach mentioned, it was almost, especially those longer stretches, they just became these thoroughfares for excessive speeding, and it almost seemed like, it was a challenge to see how fast you could get before you had to come to the next stop sign. So hopefully this is going to stop a lot of that behavior and make that drive a little bit more safe for the community. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, thank you again, staff, council. All right, next, let me see, do we have a 5-0? Yes, we do. We have a 5-0 on that one. Thank you very much, council. All right, next one, we're going to move into item number 22, adopt a resolution declaring certain real property located at 44987 Old Town Front Street, APN 922-210-057, as surplus land pursuant to the Government Code, Section 5422-1.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Tonight I'll be presenting on declaring city-owned land surplus. And so before council tonight is a resolution declaring city-owned land located at 44987 Old Town Front Street surplus land. This comes at the recommendation of the Supportive Housing Subcommittee, which consists of Mayor Pro Tem Matt Ron and Councilmember Brendan Kalfas. The property is located at 44987 Old Town Front Street. It's approximately 1.07 acres, and originally this parcel was acquired for the Temecula Parkway interchange expansion. It was the former Arco gas station that's directly across the street from the current Shell gas station. It's currently vacant, and it was determined through the subcommittee discussions that this is no longer needed for city operations. Tonight, City Council is being asked to declare the property surplus pursuant to the California Surplus Land Act. Authorize staff to begin the statutory notice process and find the action exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Tonight's action does not approve a sale, it does not select a developer, it does not approve any future project or commit the city to disposing of this property. Tonight's action does begin the legally required process before any future disposition could occur. And so tonight's action is the first step in the SLA process. The city then has 30 days from today to send out a notice of availability to eligible entities. We must then provide them a 60-day response period. If an entity is to reach out, within those 60 days, a good faith negotiation must take place. These will all happen with the assistance of the city attorney's office to make sure that we are in compliance with SLA laws. After the negotiations, the city must then submit all of these negotiations and conversations that were had to HCD for review. And then HCD will take approximately 90 days, could be more, to review the negotiation documents that were submitted. Once HCD determines that the city has complied with all SLA requirements, any future action with this parcel will come before City Council. And that's just an estimated timeline there. Again, very rough because we don't know if we're going to get anyone interested in this parcel. So the eligible entities that will be receiving this notice of availability are the California Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD, local public agencies, housing authorities, school district, park districts, and qualified affordable housing developers. The city must provide these agencies opportunity to express their interest. This is the first time that the city will ever be going through the entire SLA process, and so we don't exactly have experience on what these conversations and negotiations will look like. Again, we will include the city attorney's office in all conversations to ensure we are in compliance with all state laws. So the key takeaways tonight is tonight's action will declare the property surplus. This satisfies the first statutory requirement. It begins a state-required noticing process, and it does not approve a sale or a future development. Again, any future disposition would return back to City Council following completion of the entire Surplus Land Act process. And so staff recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution declaring the property surplus pursuant to the Surplus Lands Act, authorizes staff to begin the state-required notice and compliance process with the assistance of the City Attorney's Office, find the action exempt from CEQA Guidelines Section 15061B3, and tonight's action initiates the process, the Surplus Land Act process. Again, it does not authorize a sale, lease, development of the property. And I will open it up for discussion and questions.
Okay, any questions? Yes.
So how do you define the scope of what a qualified affordable housing developer is in order to make the notice proper?
So HCD has a list. They have an already drafted, pre-drafted list, and we have to pull that from HCD's website and send this notice to all of those
Okay,
listed.
perfect, thank you.
Any other questions? I have one question, and I'm hoping I'm staying on point with this one. So with the Surplus Land Act, if it comes in as like there's not going to be housing put there and we continue to move down, some other opportunities or leave it there on the market, can they still come back in and put housing in? Is that still something that's on? Am I saying that right?
HCD, no, that's correct. So if HCD determines after the entire process that the city has complied with all SLA requirements, then there has to be Peter Thorson, you might need to help me with this one. I think it's a 5%, 20% minimum requirement for housing if anything is developed residentially. Yep. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, okay, all right, thank you. All right, any other questions? All right, let's move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments? All right, looking as there is none, let's go to either a discussion or motion.
I'll move the item.
Second.
All right, let's go vote. And that passes as a unanimous 5-0. Great job. All right, thank you for your time. Okay, that finishes the business for that one. Next, we have department reports, receive and file. Let me see, public comments on non-agendized item to close us out tonight. Anything? Okay, none on that end. Items for future city council agendas. Do any of my colleagues have anything for future agenda item? None on anybody's ideas or thoughts? All right, the city manager report. I think you have a couple things to report out.
I actually do have one item, and I think for this, I'm going to go down to the podium, if that's all right.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think this is a first.
This way I can look at you. So, a couple things. Jennifer Hennessy, do you want to come down and join me here at the podium? She definitely deserves to be here. The city of Temecula has accomplished something so rare. I've been looking hard and deep to find a city in California that has accomplished what we've accomplished, what you accomplished, which is that we can stand here before you tonight and we can declare, we have an exhibit, right, Jen? Here it is. We'll share this. We are debt-free. And this didn't just happen overnight. So it's important to kind of tell a little bit of the story. Again, I can't find a city in California that can claim debt-free status. Debt-free meaning you got a mortgage, you got facilities, you got loans, you got your pension obligations. We consider all of that debt. And most cities carry that, and they have no other choice but to carry that. But these are obligations. So looking at some numbers, fiscal year 12-13, this was roughly 14 years ago, city of Temecula, total debt we had at that time of everything I mentioned was about $61.3 million. Fiscal year 15-16, a few years later, that went up to about $64 million, okay? That did not include when we had to borrow a bit to build a brand new community center, which we now call the MRC. So that debt went up temporarily, but probably the most powerful statistic in all of this, in 2022, we came to the city council. We came to you with a plan. We came to you with a vision, an idea to pay down over 7 years all of this debt and still provide services that were meaningful to the community. We still wanted to do parks. We still wanted to do capital projects. And we were going to try to thread this needle, if you will, and pay off the credit card in 7 years. And at that time, in 2022, Jen, we had amassed about $70.3 million in total debt. The final debt payoff ended up being about $78.6 million. Okay? We presented a 7-year plan, and I stand here before you tonight. This city council, your discipline to the plan, your discipline to expedite and shave not months, but years. You did it in 4.5 years, technically. 4.5 years, you paid it off. I signed the wire transfer this week for the final payment of our pension obligations to CalPERS, 100% funded. We have saved over $47.7 million in total interest with this plan. And I can't say enough about the discipline that was exercised. It's one thing to have an idea. It's one thing to have a vision. It's one thing to have a great finance director, which we do. But I give a ton of credit to the Temecula City Council for buying into this thing. You stuck to your guns for 4.5 years. We didn't even have to wait 7. And we stand here today as a debt-free city, the only one that I can find. So congratulate yourselves, please, because the crowd is roaring behind me. I know. All 3 of them. This is worthy of celebration, and we'll, of course, do some press releases at a later date. But Jennifer, is there anything you want to add? Because you've been on this ride with me, and I'd like to give her the honor to share anything that she has.
Not my favorite thing, Aaron. No, I just want to say, I mean, everything Aaron said is absolutely right. It was your discipline, it was your commitment to the plan that got us here. We bring forward the recommendations, but you're the ones who execute them. So, and again, we looked and we worked through CalPERS to find out how many other cities have done this. And while there may be some other cities that may not have a pension debt, a lot of it's because they've issued other debt to pay off that pension debt. So it's somewhat of a smoke and mirrors, right? But we are the only city of our size that has completely paid off our pension. So it is pretty remarkable. So, thanks.
That concludes our report, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Great job. Good job.
All of us, sounds good.
I like how it says not an official invoice.
Just in case.
So while we're taking selfies and photos and all the fun stuff, thank you to all of you. Thank you to the past council. Thank you. Oh, wait, sorry.
We're not doing a meeting.
We run the meeting. We're good. So that being said, just past councils, past staff, current staff, this is part of the culture. We keep talking about that. And we are a conservative city in a sense of wanting to make sure we are fiscally responsible for everything we do, and it shows. And I just want to thank the council and my colleagues, each one of you, that we've stayed on point, as our city manager has said. And when we had discussions before, it was, we could have done so much. That's a lot of money. We could have always done something else. We could have built something, but this gives us the opportunity to be responsible, continue a strong foundation in our city, and be able to build something else later on, which might be even more powerful and meaningful for our community. So thank you to you guys. Does anybody else want to share anything?
Just real quick, when I thought in 22, when I was mayor, I thought that was my last year. Surprise. But I remember asking Aaron, what one big good thing could we accomplish this year that, and both him and Jennifer was just like, oh, well, we've got this idea, and that was it. And, and I remember them saying, oh, is this something, because it was a huge commitment on behalf of the council to basically say, yeah, we're going to forego, our concepts of what we need to do in terms of capital expenditures and pension pay downs and all that. And do you think the council would agree to something like this? And without hesitation, I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's bring it forward. And I cannot thank the two of you, and especially Ms. Hennessy. I've yelled out your name at so many meetings, but I cannot thank you enough for doing what you've done for the city of Temecula on this one. This is huge.
Stu?
I do want to add that not only did we pay down the debt during that 4-year period, but we built a pickleball complex of over $4 million, a skate rink of about $3.8 million, and now we're doing a skate park of another $3 million plus, and we're basically paying cash for everything because we have it now, because we're not paying it to debt. And the reserves, not only do we have our city reserve, we have a reserve for our pension plan now. And we have another reserve for, we have like 4 reserves now, which
We are well reserved, and I was silent on that.
Exactly.
So, no, I thank the council for setting up the irrevocable trust. We fully funded that with this budget year to the tune of $10 million. That will help future operating budgets continue and continue to stay 100% funded by withdrawing from that pension trust. So it's definitely putting the city on an amazing track to sort of funnel your resources to other things other than these obligations that other cities are going to have to struggle with.
incredible. That's what I think. Yeah. So it's really cool.
Great words, Stu. Thank you. Anybody on my left?
I just want to say that it's absolutely amazing. It's an honor to be on this council. It's an honor to work with you, Mr. Aaron Adams, Jennifer Hennessy. And I think it's important to know that this is a huge milestone, but it's important for us and future councils and future staff to stay on the same boat, because we know how easy it is or how hard it is to get out of debt. It's easy to go back into debt. So it's important that we all stick to what we believe is the foundation of Temecula and what makes Temecula the best city. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and echo again my colleagues, and thank you to our city manager's office, our finance department. Fantastic work, as always. You know, we've said it every time we do the budget hearing, and we have, you know, these massive presentations on how well we're doing. And this is just the pinnacle of that. This is rare air, we've said, you know, and I've also looked, and I can't find a city in the state of California that can claim this. It's just absolutely unbelievable. But again, it's one thing for professional staff to have a recommendation. It's a whole other thing for the council to put aside maybe sort of our individual goals and aspirations. And you know, what's sort of coined as like the golden shovel syndrome, where you get a lot of kudos for breaking ground and doing things. There's not a lot of breaking ground on this. You know, we get this little tiny thing, you know. But this is so meaningful that we can put aside some of the differences that we have, and it really speaks to how we can work together as a council to better this city for the residents and their future, because we really just did that today. So thank you to my colleagues and staff and everything. Fantastic. This is wonderful.
Amazing. All right. I think that's it. We should have had balloons set off or something. I felt like we should have streamers and balloons. I think the chief had poppers he could have popped off or something. All right. Great job, everybody. Next, we're going to move into the city attorney report. Sir, what do you have for us?
No report from closed session.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. With that being said, that is about the end of our city council meeting. However, I would like to close with this, with keeping in memory of a gentleman whose family lives here and are 20-year residents. That is, the residents are Mr. Mike and Lisa D. To keep in memory Major Robert D., an Air Force pilot, who had passed away on June 15th, 2026, during a routine B-52 test flight at Edwards AFB, Air Force Base. For his family, it was a devoted husband to Ashley and loving father to Beverly, Eleanor, and Corbin, his 3 children. He was a distinguished Air Force career B-52 pilot, instructor, and test pilot who led major modernization efforts. He was a decorated pilot and completed over 1,800 flight hours, 326 combat hours, and a multitude of and he has multiple Air Force medals. And so with that, we're going to take a moment of silence and close in the honor of Major Robert D. and for his family who are residents. And with that, this meeting's adjourned.